ready for your penultimate act? It's nice to be in a room where we know that you know what penultimate means. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage the fabulous Pablo.
Thank you all. My name is Pablo and I am unnecessarily tall. I am a researcher on climate and disasters that has become a humanitarian worker. What that means is if you need a hurricane preparedness plan, I can give you a hand. If your infrastructure is threatened by sea level rise, I can help as well. And if you're going to be hosting a very boring climate conference, I can help you bring some energy. You see, I am trained to see what is likely to happen in different parts of the world. And it is my job to go across the world to help people notice, to help people anticipate, and to do what can be done so that people don't suffer, so that people are better off. Now, unfortunately, this guy doesn't fit in those tight planes as we spew all that carbon. And even more unfortunately, for the planet, I have way more work than the best stand-up comedians. So you may wonder, what am I doing on a comedy stage in Singapore? I have to say, I am finding that when I do my job well, either as a scientist or as a humanitarian communicating, it turns out that people laugh. And I even don't know why. So I'm trying to figure out how to harness humor for humanitarian work to help people understand and address changing climate risks. Now, it is perplexing because when you want to understand and you don't, the confusion adds noise, but the noise can be good. Now, let me give you an example. I had to explain complex stuff to people, and I came up with an idea, a game, that involves very high technology. Give me a second. It's over here. Excuse me. This is played with a die. I mean, not a die, but this die. We are all going to play. Okay? I'm going to throw this die. It represents rainfall. And if it's a 1 to 5, it's okay, no problem. Good for thumbs up. Can you all show me your thumbs up? Yeah. Good. That's what you want to do if you think there won't be a 6. But a 6 is extreme rainfall. If extreme rainfall happens, you will get flooded, you will suffer, unless you stand up to represent evacuation. Now, if you evacuate and there is no extreme event, someone will steal your chickens. I kid you not, you either do this or you stand up, count down from 5, show it with your body. You either thumbs up or stand up before the countdown is up, or you're fired. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and stop. Okay, look at you. You don't care about risk. No. Let's see what happens. It counts, it counts.
6!
Now, could you send it over? It's not a remote control die, although it's working. Yeah, it can happen, but you thought, well, if I'm going to be, my chickens will be stolen all the time, right? So it makes sense to not invest in protection when the risk is not that high. When I introduced this, the first time I ran this workshop in my home country, Argentina, I said, to explain risk, this is not a die, this is the probability distribution function of extreme events based on the historical record of precipitation. And like you, people laughed, and I have no idea why. So it wasn't a joke. I wasn't making fun of someone. There wasn't a tall guy folding all those banana peels that Lady Gaga left from her vegan press. Yeah, so what is it that makes people laugh? I'm still perplexed. Now, we won't make the second round, but sometimes, instead of normal conditions, we from science can see some unusual things. We can see the darkness coming from the horizon, say a gigantic cloud, which means that now the risk of too much rain is maybe a flip of a coin. I throw this up in the air, falls like this, no problem, falls like this, you need to stand up. Guess what happens when I play the game? Many more people stand up. It makes sense. It would be nuts to not invest more in preparedness when the risks are changing. And yet, that's the world we live in. People are not investing. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating, but when you don't do what could be done, it is my colleagues from the humanitarian sector who have to risk their lives to go help. Right? Not nice. Now, let me tell you something serious. This business of how to communicate is important because we're spending so much time in these events that are so boring. That it feels like really death by PowerPoint. We are designing events as if we meant to not accomplish something. And we have to figure out how to change that. And I am of the opinion that our sector, like many others, may need humor to rethink how we're relating to each other and to the world where we live in. So, I don't know exactly how to make it happen, because I have to tell you, there was a time when I was humorless and I was extremely, extremely talented when explaining science and putting people to sleep. One anecdote, I was working in the Caribbean, in a country where I was invited to train a community of deaf people to understand how the risk of hurricanes was changing as the planet warms up, and to, I kid you not, this is serious, and they also needed to learn how to do an evacuation plan should a hurricane come. Some warnings cannot be heard by them. So there I was, explaining. I often have a translator into Shona and the or other languages. Here I was speaking English, and a translator was translating into sign language. And I'm talking about the greenhouse gases and how things are changing. And finally I'm getting to the part that matters. Prepare for action. And I'm talking, and I'm noticing my audience, instead of looking at the translator, they're looking through the window out to the clouds. And guess what? If they need to read sign language, they're not understanding, they're not hearing. I was clouding their thought. There's a possibility that they were actually examining atmospheric science through those clouds, but I don't think so. I think I was too boring. And I learned then that I really need to notice how much people notice what I'm saying, and how to revise how we say what we say to others. Another example, rural Bangladesh. Imagine you're with me, a community that grows rice, they're familiar with water, but when the floods come, the serious one, your chickens die. If your chickens die, you have no eggs, you have no flesh, no meat, you're hungry, and it's hard for us humanitarians to deliver aid when the roads are impassable, the bridge was washed, etc. So we're facilitating a workshop because they're telling us it's flooding more and more. And we cannot keep up with trying to help. So we're having a workshop, and all the men talk about what they think should be done. Ideas are not that good. And then a lady opens her mouth and says, how about substituting chickens with ducks? The flood comes, the duck floats. Brilliant! Of course, then I was working in Southern Africa in the village of Mfunga in Malawi. They had a similar problem. I shared the idea. They loved it. They said they would go get ducks. The next time I went to Mfunga, I was wearing sandals, and baby ducklings were pecking at my toes. That feels so rewarding. Peer-to-peer learning, people get it. Now, if you had taken that problem to my colleagues in academia, what do you think we would have done? We would have come up with a range of awesome, somewhat expensive solutions. For example, we could come up with high-tech life floating vests for chickens. We would likely have developed a mathematical model of buoyancy for chips. Certainly, we'll have developed an executive education program for the cocks. Because we want them to be able to lead and rise above disruption. If possible, using big data and blockchain. So, I can see by your engagement and your laughter that something has worked, that you were engaged. And my humanitarian, my scientist is happy. My researcher is also confused. I still don't understand what makes you laugh. But I know it works. Martin Luther King, turns out he said that it is necessary to be able to develop creative laughter in times of difficulty and tension. And he knew what he was talking about. Anyone who tells me that our problems are bigger than the ones he was confronting, be careful, because he had to put lives at risk to find solutions. Creative laughter helped. I am finding that humor is really helping me to coexist with the really terrifying work life that we humanitarians are confronting. It helps me coexist with the darkness. I mean the darkness, not the duckness, okay? It's tough, and we need more light. Fun is functional. It can help us, and it's been helping. Humor works just like the ducks from Bangladesh. Thank you very much.